Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jonasz Rewiński. Safety of young social media users is in the spotlight once again as tech companies face a wave of litigation and official scrutiny. From Mark Zuckerberg's testimony in a US court case focused on addictive platform mechanics to a EU probe into similar allegations concerning a Chinese e-commerce site, the struggle for tighter regulations intensifies, yet US tech companies, at least, have a powerful ally in the Trump administration, which favors economic opportunities over what they deem excessive legislative intervention and red tape. Joining us now to discuss these latest developments is Mikulaś Peksa, CEO and founder at Cybermindnet and former member of the European Parliament. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning to you and to the followers.
So first, a general question. As someone who has the unique insight into the subject from both sides of the barricade, so to say, so from the legislative side, but also being an industry insider, what would you say about the current state of this struggle between regulation and innovation? Are we close to striking the right balance?
I would say it's really tricky to actually achieve the desired goal, which means like to verify the users or verify the age of the users that are coming to the online platforms. Maybe in the US it's even worse because in Europe we have approved that legislation to provide electronic IDs to all the citizens. Although in practice, should we want to use it, it wouldn't be possible because most of the people still haven't applied for it yet. So the large platforms, they very much rely on artificial intelligence, test verifications and similar tools, which are, of course, absolutely not reliable.
When the platforms say age verification is very difficult to achieve in practice, do they have a point? I mean, this is becoming increasingly important in jurisdictions which have, for example, imposed age restrictions on social media use, like in Australia.
I guess to some degree they really have a point because you can quite easily find online tools that will provide you basically like a fake photos of you and your ID that would present you to be older than you actually are. So I mean, to cheat the system is actually relatively easy, whatever you will do, and the only solution that would be that would resolve the problem would be really a cryptographical tool that would be issued for each of the citizens to verify the identity online, and we are not there yet. I mean, the legislation in Europe is able to to provide the solution, but the practical availability of the tools for the people is not yet the one we would need for really like provide proper verification online.
And this is a problem not just because people are using social media even if they are not supposed to, but also websites containing adult content, right? This is another problem that you can simply, verify your age by clicking, yes, I'm 18, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, so far we very much rely on these tools, and that was the reason why we were pushing for approving the EID legislation that is now intact, but as said, because most of the people still do not have them, the online platforms, they still cannot really like base the processes on using them.
Which approach do you think is likely to prevail? We have the European approach, meaning ensuring the safety of users through more legislation, and we have the American approach. And the Americans are saying there is too much red tape. I mean, we had a statement from Sriram Krishnan, who's the senior policy advisor on AI to the US president, and he accused the European Union on acting out of what he called doomerism on artificial intelligence. So which of these approaches do you think is likely to win in the end?
Well, I think one of them will have to win, and the problem is that the online platforms, as they are operating globally, have to have more or less like unified process that would allow for verification of the customers, so like approaching them, because obviously it's to a high degree possible to actually fake the country of origin and just use various proxies or VPNs to approach the online platforms and to circumvent the legislation. And here I think the EU, shall it really want to actually pursue its goals, it will have to quite step up and to pursue it globally, because without the cooperation with the other partners, the EU approach is simply impossible to be enforced.
But do you think that the European Union has a point? I mean, right now we have legislation concerning, imposing limits on digital platforms. We have the DSA, we have the AI Act, but also there is litigation in the US concerning what is considered to be addictive mechanisms being baked into those social media sites. And we had Mark Zuckerberg testifying on exactly that issue. Is it true, do you think, that some of these algorithms are likely to foster addiction, which could be especially harmful in case of minors?
I would say yes, because the problem of this large digital online platform is that they are basically collecting the online data or the personal data from billions of users. And then there is an advanced AI that is mining the data and processing them to actually provide the best possible outcome for the platform, which means to get you addicted on using it and exploit you as the customer to maximum possible degree. I mean, this itself is dangerous because you are really facing quite advanced AI, and we should probably tackle it somehow. Or we should rather not have this large online platforms. I mean, maybe the solution would be sort of like a decentralization, like other networks, like for example Blue Sky or Mastodon are offering to basically split the big monopoly into multiple smaller companies. That might be a solution, because otherwise we are really facing large psychological, neuroscientific advantage of the company selling the products against the users that are buying them.
But Mark Zuckerberg said that even though there were emails which seem to confirm that they used to have a policy of encouraging users to spend more time with the platform, now they are not doing this. But any tech company would also say, well, if someone wants to spend more time with our product, this means we have a good product on our hands. So are you trying to legislate us out of existence? Are you trying to legislate competition out of existence, essentially, to make us less competitive? I mean, this is likely to be the line of defense that could be adopted. Where would you draw the line between what is harmful and what is not? If it encourages you to spend too much, for example, or should it just be about encouraging someone to simply enjoy the app more and more? Is this in itself a problem?
Well, I have to admit that to some degree I really feel with Mark Zuckerberg, because I'm also optimizing my websites, my products. So I want to do that. I mean, I really want to be nice to my customers, and I really want to get them involved and provide them the solutions that will be good for them. Yeah, maybe probably we should discuss what are the practices that are, let's say, over the line. Might it be using sexual content? Might it be using I don't know. I mean, this type of categories. But yeah, this is probably the only solution how to actually define the legislation to really define what are the, let's say, harmful or too extreme form of addiction. Because at the end of the day, we really create stuff in order to make each other happy. So I mean, or satisfied. So we really need to talk about what is the acceptable proportion of doing it and what is really the exploitation. But this is really subjective, or a matter of there is no fixed way how to really measure this effect.
So what about, for example, the case of the Chinese company Shein? That is being investigated by the EU authorities, and they accused the company, among other things, of introducing like this sort of gamification mechanism that the more you buy, the more rewards you get, and that this could become addictive. But then, isn't that what any sort of commercial site or any sort of commercial entity would do? Offering you incentives to buy more. Where is the difference then?
Well, to be fair, I really cannot defend the position of the EU Commission because, I mean, from my point of view, this is not that much different from those, let's say, supermarkets who are all the time sending like the paper flyers with lists of discounts to the mailboxes of the customers. I mean, like that's pretty common practice.
But what about the use of AI? I mean, supermarkets didn't have AI. They were just, they were just advertising based on what they wanted to sell, whereas these sites, they do really know what the customer wants. They can actually scan the previous browsing history and they can say, okay, we've got something that's exactly what you're looking for. This wasn't there before, was it?
There we come to the question, like, to what degree it is actually ethical to collect and mine the personal data of the customers and use them for the advertising. And I think we should probably split these two questions from each other. I mean, like whether it's a question of regulating the advertisement itself, or whether it's a question of collecting the data and processing the data. And there, I think we really need some restrictions of how the data are being processed and regulated. And I said, ideally, or ideal solution from my point of view would be simply like to support decentralization and, let's say, breaking these big online monopolies, because whatever you will do, they will still be in a huge advantage, given by the fact that they are sort of monopolies or almost oligopolies.
Right, but is it really something that would be enforceable? I mean, that would require sort of like a global antitrust framework. We don't have anything like that yet. We can, try to enforce competition rules against companies within a given jurisdiction. But then if China has a different set of regulations there, wouldn't this simply be tilting at windmills? Because China will say, okay, so we will not be offering this on your market, we'll be offering this on other markets instead. But we're not going to be, we're not going to be splitting up our company.
Well, that would very much require a global cooperation, but I think we are not yet there even in Europe. I mean, like, shall we want to start the negotiation with Chinese? We still do not have the legislative framework we would like to enforce on them in order to make it happen. This was supposed to be resolved by the Digital Markets Act, but to be honest, I'm not really sure whether it delivered to the degree it was supposed to deliver, because in order to provide the decentralization and not just like the legal request to split the monopolies, but the proper decentralization, we should provide quite stronger tools for interoperability in order for the smaller companies that are competitors for the larger online platform to be able to get involved on the market. Because currently the big platforms, they are using the networking effect, because the more customers they have, the easier it is for them to get more of them. And if they do not provide the opportunity to actually get involved into the market for the smaller players, then the smaller players are sidelined and eventually ousted out completely.
Mikulaś Peksa was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
And now I'm Jonasz Rewiński. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news, updates and commentary.